Hello guys, today I'm going to show you guys how to draw animal feet and shoes. So let's get started. First off, I'm going to draw the leg or the lower part of the leg, and I'm going to start drawing the guidelines. Okay, so I'm not going to show you guys all the different angles because that would take too much time. So I'm just going to show you guys a general way to make the guidelines that I like to use when I draw shoes or feet. Okay, so first off, I'm just going to make a face like this that goes down. And so in this case, I'm thinking that the foot is going to point towards, like, I don't know, this direction. So I'm just gonna make it like that, and then a kind of like a half circle, but it's as long as this circle. So like that. And then I'm just going to make kind of like a triangular prism down towards the direction that the foot is going to be in. So I'm going to start drawing the bare foot first. So and then I'm going to draw the shoes next to it to show you guys how to do, both. So the thing about this triangular prism is that you want to have this side wider than this side because your feet is like that. And then we can just make it so this line, we can just make the same parallel line a little bit towards us because I'm gonna give it a little bit perspective like that. And then we can give it a big toe like this. So I'm just gonna give it a toe first. I'm not gonna draw all the other toes because they're not gonna be here. They're not gonna line up like in a straight line. Instead, they're gonna be curved like this. So I can already see that this is a relatively small foot. So this might be either the foot of a child or of a girl. If it's of a girl, then it's pretty okay. It might actually be a little bit large. I don't know, because actually when you draw foot, you really need to care about the gender, because female foot and female feet and male feet have very, very different size. So you just want to have large feet for your male character, and then the opposite for your female character. Okay, so I'm just going to make this curve like this, and the thing to remember is that the index toe, I don't think it's called index toe, but whatever it's called, this toe is as long as this one. So you can see that they are equally long, but of course not exactly, but most of the time they are like that. And then I can just make the toes closer and closer to the ankle. So actually we can just make a curve like this. And the reason I'm making 3 curves is because this is the base of the toes, and then the first joint, and then the end of the toe. But of course I know there are 3 joints actually, but the last joint you can pretty much just ignore it because it's so small, and yeah, it's not really that important. But the thumb only has 2 joints, so remember that it's just the thumb for the fingers, yeah, for the hand. Okay, so now we have all the basic shapes. So you see that these are all just cubes, and then a prism, and then this kind of shape. And I'm just going to make these shapes into a more natural human bare foot. So the first thing you want to do is to make this really curvy line to indicate that this is some human foot, and then make this the end of your foot very round like this. Also, where it's closest to the center, a little bit past this line, but don't really know how much. You just have to look up, look at the reference, and then maybe your own food, and then draw accordingly. And then I'm gonna curve this line a little bit like this, and then make a smooth transition. And I'm gonna add an angle on this this circle that I drew in the beginning, like this. See, might be a little bit too small. Just gonna increase the size. Yeah, like that. Pretty good. And for the toes, you have to understand that it gets smaller towards the end. So just make sure that they are all kind of pointing a little bit downwards. Again, and then just before where they reach the nails and around the first joint, if you guys can see it, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. It's gonna be rounded down a little bit, and then it's gonna reach the nails, which is gonna be like this. And there's no really any, you know, reason for that. It's just how your foot looks like. And then there's kind of like a straight line here, bends like that, and then because, you know, it's a joint here, but then there's the other joint which is very short, kind of. No, the joint is not very short, but you know, the part of the flesh that belongs to the bone is very short. Now we can just continue making all the toes. So normally you probably don't need that much detail like now, because normally you don't really draw the foot so close to the camera. But since you look this video up, you probably need it. So I'm just gonna make all the details. So now for the pinky finger, pinky toe. It's probably not called pinky toe, but I'm just gonna call it pinky toe because you guys will understand what it is. But you know, the thing about this is that the shape of the pinky toe is very, very different from person to person. And for my toe, it's actually bent 90 degrees and then pointing towards the other toes. And then it's also very short, and then the nail of it is almost invisible. But that's just how my pinky toe looks like. So it might apply to yours, so you just have to draw, you know, accordingly, or what you want your character to have. But I don't think it really matters for any character actually. So that's it. And also I've noticed that I have relatively short toes, but you know, that's just me. Maybe people have even shorter toes than me. Maybe people have longer. I don't really study toes that much, so don't ask me and don't quote me on this. But we just finished on this toe. Let me just zoom out a little bit, and I'm just gonna continue and to draw the same thing, but just with shoes on, because that might be a little bit more useful. I think it's more useful to learn how to draw shoes, because I think in most cases you probably need to know how to draw shoes than barefoot, because most of the time people have shoes on instead of barefoot. Okay, so the principles really are the same, but there are some kind of differences when you're trying to draw a shoe. A shoe, is that even correct? A shoe, can you even say that? A shoe, a piece of shoe. I don't know. But you know, the thing about this is that I'm just gonna use the same shapes like this, and then, you know, the toes is, I've noticed that it's actually pointing a little bit towards the left. It's not in the same angle, but that's gonna be okay. It's not really that important when you're trying to draw, when you're just trying to learn. But if you really want to have it in one scene, then you probably need to have the angle correct. But you know, we're not gonna waste time getting the angle correct. Okay, so I don't really need the toes. I don't know why I did that. but we don't need the toes. We just need the end of the toes, which is gonna be this curve, and then maybe the thumb toe, the big toe, whatever it's called, and then this rounded thing, and then the ankle. Not sure you need the ankle because this guy's gonna have shoes on, but whether this is a guy is still a question to be answered. But whatever. Okay, let's get started. So the thing about giving shoes is that shoes are really thick. So I'm just gonna make a really thick line covering this side, and then I'm actually gonna make it give it this layer at the bottom of the foot. I don't know what it's called, but we all have seen this. It's virtually in every single shoe you can find. This thing, and then you can just now this is a little bit less curvy than the foot itself, mainly because it I don't know why it's more beautiful probably, but we can just make this really large curve. Actually, okay, so you can see that this is the end of the toes, but once again we're gonna make room for it because, as I've said, the shoes are really thick. Now I kind of draw a little bit too hard now. I'm kind of getting used to digital drawing that I'm kind of a little bit not used to drawing a little bit lightly, but that's probably a good thing for you guys to see because you know somebody complained that they can't see anything in my video because I draw too lightly. So I hope you guys can see this. So okay, so I just basically cover the toes, and then I'm just gonna make this line, which is okay. So first off, I forgot to say is that I'm gonna draw sneakers on this person. So yeah, sneakers is probably one of the most normal anime shoes you can find. So it's probably most useful to learn how to draw sneakers. So we can just make this a little bit thick, like this. Okay, so for those of you who don't know what sneakers is, it's basically I don't know. I don't know anyone who doesn't know or haven't seen a sneakers in real life, a pair of sneakers. So basically, it's just this kind of shoes with a white cap in the front, and then this kind of laces on this side. So I'm just gonna erase everything inside it, and then erase all the guidelines that I've drawn. Okay, so gonna have the curve like this around the ankle because that's how shoes are, and then the part that I don't know what it's called, and then we can just add some design. Okay, so I'm just gonna go for the most ordinary thing that you can find because you know I'm a boring person, but this is for learning, so you probably don't want to learn anything very fancy. It's just some very normal thing. This is the most common design for sneakers, I think, is this. So I'm just gonna make a line like this. I actually looked up some pictures of sneakers before I did this video just to make sure that I know some details of how sneakers look like. So we have this line and then the holes of the laces here. I'm gonna give this 5 laces or 5 holes, which is easiest because I can just divide it by 2 and then just add 2 in the middle of those. I'm just gonna do the same here. It's gonna be a little bit, you know, bent because you understand. It's, you know, it's in an angle. And then the hole is supposed to be here, so this hole is supposed to be here. It's barely visible. This hole is not even or maybe it is visible. And then the last hole. Okay, perfect. Perfect. And then we can just add one line here. Almost forgot. Should be one line here. And then a line of color. So most likely this sneakers is gonna have a specific color that it belongs to, like red, then this line is gonna be red. So this part is also gonna be red. But whatever. You guys probably know more about design than me. I'm not gonna talk that much about it, so I'm just gonna start making laces. So if you guys haven't studied laces before, it's actually pretty easy. So you just have one line covering the bottom part and then just go zigzag. So this one, and then this line is just gonna be, so this is gonna go from this part like below this, so it's gonna go, the lace is gonna go down it and then up again and then down. So every time the tie, or what's called the string, is gonna go from the upper side towards the inner side of the shoes, just like that. So now for this part, I'm not gonna draw it that hard because I'm gonna erase something, because you know we have this tying part and it's gonna be covering a lot of things, because we have this this thing, the butterfly tie, or knot, butterfly knot. Is it called a butterfly knot? I don't know, but whatever. Like this, and then the other side. And perfect. And then I'm just going to continue. So remember that to keep the same side covering the other side. So in this case, this line is going to be covering this line always. So the last string is actually not going to go from top to bottom. It's actually from bottom up, because people have to get the ties from the outside to tie it. You know, if you're unsure, just look at your own shoes. I'm pretty sure most people have one kind of, you know, these shoes. You don't really need to look up your own shoes, because you can just look up sneakers on the internet. Just get some real life reference and you're pretty okay. So I'm just gonna be drawing some lines much more clearly, like this. I'm not gonna erase anything yet, or I am, but damn it, I'm not gonna erase anything because that eraser is so stupidly dull. I can't even pinpoint why I actually want to erase. So actually I made a mistake. The thing is, I have to curve them a little bit, curve these lines, because of course it's 3D. Doesn't make them almost straight line. Curve them a little bit. But normally, you know, you probably don't need to do this like that much detail, because normally you probably don't zoom that much into the shoes, and you don't really need to do this. You can just make one line for these laces, just one line, because it's so far away. But when you zoom that much in, you probably need to do this. I know it's a bummer. Okay, Perfect. So now you can just go ahead and erase all the guidelines and all the lines that are being covered by other lines, but I'm probably not going to do that because I actually have a rubber or eraser that is much more, sharp, but it's not here, so I have to find it. So I'm not gonna do that. Not gonna waste your time watching me erase things. And then, I'm just gonna erase some of the larger sketch lines. And then you can also, of course, give her or he. It's probably her because this size is so small. So it's probably her foot, kind of like a sock. Almost forgot what it's called. I forgot what a sock is called. And also I have the erased line for the ankle. And that's pretty good. It's pretty good. Okay, so you probably want to give it some color and stuff, but I don't really need to do that because I've spent 21 minutes explaining this thing now. So yes, probably need to erase some guidelines here too, but I'm not gonna waste your time. So thank you for watching, and I will be uploading more videos pretty soon. And yes, I will just keep uploading videos, and if you don't forget to subscribe, of course, and leave a like, and also remember to share this video if you find this useful, and comment if you have any suggestions or questions, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.